Now I'd like to call the February 2nd, 2017 Northwood School Board meeting. And the bills and manifests are going around, and we don't need a non-public session. And then Deb Delisandro is here to answer questions that we might have. So I guess the first question is, where are we at with the bus and the driver? To start off with.
Okay.
Turn that on.
Did you read?
Oh, sorry, yeah, that was where we knew you were gone, because I asked if that was on.
Wouldn't have mattered because I wasn't over there.
I know.
before.
I've had applicants, inquiries, pretty much weekly. None of the applicants have panned out. A lot of them are looking for more hours, more pay. Some seem very eager and ready to come on, and then either through a medical reason or other things have come up and they've decided not to take the job. I had another inquiry this afternoon I'm meeting with tomorrow. The hard thing is we're looking at getting a driver to replace me on Route 6 plus a driver for Route 7, so we really need 2 more drivers. So we've had, and I want to commend my drivers, we've had really a dedicated group of drivers. 5 out of the 6 have been here over 100 days so far. Very proud of them. We've had a safe year, maintenance-free breakdown year. Things have really gone well. There's a lot of pressure on all of us. We only have 1 spare that steps up when we need her to fill in for an unexpected family vacation. You know, so considering the situation we're in, we've had a really good year. So I'm still working very hard. Indeed has really helped me the last couple weeks, online, that hiring thing. I've got a lot of good inquiries, but no one has come through yet.
So what would the time frame be if you were to hire someone? So if you're looking at 2 people, if you're looking at hiring 2 people, because I guess what we're looking for is, we're into February now. Are we just saying that we're done with that bus that we haven't been using all year because it's 2 people that you need to hire? I guess that's what we're looking at, is, you know, what's the time frame for getting somebody hired, somebody trained,
Yep, if
and all
they're
that?
totally new to driving a school bus, 6 to 8 weeks minimum. You know, and that could be longer, because some aspects you may not pass and get to retake, and you have to wait 10 days. The state won't let you do it the next day. You have to wait 10. It's difficult. So I almost feel defeated, but I think that's the avenue the rest of this year is. But I'm not going to give up, you know. I could find someone that could come on and get them going, but if you financially want to eliminate it, I want to propose to you that it's very difficult in my situation to take the full hit of it, of the 42,300 and something. Marjorie's not here, huh?
It's
I have
40,348.01.
other companies ask for, I think, 75% of that to be, well, I don't want to word it incorrectly. I soak 75% of it. And I had a letter drafted if you would consider my proposal of 85%, reducing my money I owe to you. I could just hand the letter out. It'll be easier to explain. I'm looking at the fixed overhead costs of, you guys have these two? You can share one.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. The fixed overhead costs were calculated into the cost per bus. And with this amount and the possibility of losing another one next year, depending on the kindergarten situation. A full 100% of each of those buses is going to put me totally off schedule for bus replacement and keeping up with the fixed overhead costs.
So technically, you only need really one driver to bring that bus back if you continue to work, correct?
It will still leave us with no,
Manager at the office type.
right, I mean, I call my spare when someone doesn't show up to be on a route at 6:45. Takes that driver 15, 20 minutes to get here. It's never been a comfortable situation to be in. It's doable. It really is. We've done it all year.
But to recoup your cost, it would just, if you had one person, if you could hire one person, you would be all set. You'd be at the minimum level of work.
So if I were to hire one, immediately put Route 7 back, is what you're saying?
I mean, if that's how you could recoup your loss,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you technically, if you had one more driver, you would be full staff at the most minimum level, instead of having that office manager there taking calls. Because I read the contract, because in the contract, it does say that someone has to be at the bus station the whole time while the route, while the kids are on the route.
Right.
And that's 6 to 8 weeks with somebody new. So if it wasn't somebody,
If they come licensed to me,
how long would it take?
10 days for the live scan fingerprints, drug testing a few days. I have to do 10 hours of classroom training, 10 to 20 hours of behind-the-wheel training. You know, I can get a new experienced driver on with all the endorsements necessary, which I have all air brakes, 2 to 3 weeks.
How long are the rides right now?
Of course, routes 1, 2, and 3 are the shorter routes because those buses continue on for elementary, 15 to 20 minutes, on to high school, excuse me.
I know what you meant.
Route 4 makes her first pickup at 6:50 and pulls into the schoolyard at 7:40 to 7:45. Route 5, first pickup is 6:50, she pulls in, same. And my Route 6, first pickup is 6:55, and I pull in at 7:35 to 7:40. The kids have adapted well. You know, merging the routes made it a little challenging at the beginning, but they've all really turned around on those 2 routes affected, Route 4 and Route 6. Settled in finally. It's going well. Good group of kids. I love my Route 6. I don't really want to part with it, but I may have to.
Do any other board members have questions?
I see what Marjorie gave us, and I see what Mrs. D'Alessandro has given us. I think we have to have a long discussion about this.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that we should vote on
I
right
didn't
now.
expect anything tonight.
I think that next year's coming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just very concerned, and I hear her problems, and I understand that, but our problem is
This is-
we're paying for X and we're not getting it, number one. I think the parents have been, especially considering that the number one issue in 6 years of being on the school board has been when we wanted to eliminate a bus run. It's the only time we had a crowd in here. I think the parents have been extremely patient with us. I think it should be fixed, you know, and whatever that takes. I mean, we have a contract, it should be fixed. I don't, I don't know. So I'm worried about it, and I'm worried about next year also. Is this going to be an ongoing issue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I guess my question too is it an issue, you know, they've adapted well and everything, so then do we look at it and do we really need that extra bus next year? You know, if kids have adapted that well and everything,
I
that's the other thing
understand,
too,
and
so.
that's something, you know, but my concern is if you say that out loud,
Which I just did.
are you going to get a bunch of parents in here? So, I mean, but that's a whole nother issue, yes. You know, if we've adapted well, do we need the bus? We will have probably 20 less kids next year.
That doesn't mean there's not spaced any differently, though.
You can turn it any way you want. According to the numbers, we're going to have 20 less kids next year.
Right now.
I have had parents comment that some of them like the earlier time because it allows them to drop their kids and get them on the bus instead of leaving them with a sitter. And they can get to work on time. But Oyster River's down 3 route drivers. Dale Transportation for this district here is down 7. Not district here, but in the area here. It's hurting my other school that I do sports trips for. I'm not available because I'm short drivers, and my contract with you takes priority. So I'm not looking to have it stay this way, and I'm trying my darndest to get you guys a driver and get the kids back on Route 7.
You mentioned a spare driver. Is that someone that doesn't work for you?
She does not want, nope, she's on my roster, but she does not want a full-time route. She lives in town. If I told her she was going on to a full-time route, I'd probably lose her.
To me, there's numbers of things we have to talk about, but the two things that come out to me is, one, do we need the bus? If we need the bus, then how are we going to facilitate that? And if it required, because obviously, in my opinion anyway, that part of the problem is hiring people. What does it take to hire people? It takes sometimes more money. There is a tremendous amount of pressure on part-time jobs. People who work part-time can be really selective right now. Part of it is just the way the economy is. Part of it is the amount of people who want to hire part-time so that they don't have to pay benefits, which became very expensive. So if we need the bus, then I would be far more interested in having a discussion at the SAU level with the busing company as to maybe trying to get her to raise her rates, her pay rate, and we might have to renegotiate our contract a little bit with her. I would be far more interested in that than sitting around here not knowing where we are.
I mean, personally, me, listening to what Ms. D'Alessandro was saying and everything, I don't think we need the bus, but my kids don't ride the bus, so I don't know that for sure. And again, saying it out loud, we might get 100 parents here. I don't know. You know, if kids are adapting well and we're not having any complaints from parents that we know of, then
I mean, yeah, it's also the timing too, because when the daylight saving time, like, it was pitch black. So parents complained for a little bit, and then the sun started coming up at different times, and it was just, so you stopped hearing the complaints. So, man, there are some of those complaints. Oh, my kid has to be out of the bus so much sooner now. So, I mean, there are complaints, they just died out.
The Route 4 and Route 6 only start 10 minutes earlier than they did last year. You know, just the 10 minutes. That was the adjustment that was made.
and if we had started out the year like that, it wouldn't have made a difference, you know?
I don't like driving in the dark at all, especially picking up kids. But we do it safely.
So I don't know that
I'm
we're
waiting for
ready
some
to.
direction
Yeah,
from
I
the
don't
board,
know
but,
that we
well,
want to have
well,
a
I've been-
vote
you got
on
a
it
couple
tonight.
issues.
Okay, go ahead.
You got a couple issues going on here. So the first issue is similar conversation with Dale last week in another district, same challenges. This is not just happening to Northwood Transportation. I just want to give Deb that credit
Thank you.
publicly. Kelly over at Dale is having the same challenges and the same timelines, and one of the things that they're experiencing is there's people who are out of work, who are required to look for work, and one of the suspicions is we get all these inquiries because they need to list inquiries to continue their benefits, and then they don't really follow up on the inquiries. So there's a bunch of different things going on. You've also got drivers, you've got drivers who already have their school bus driver's license with all their endorsements. That's a pretty quick turnaround, under a month. But then when you have a new driver, you've got all the hoops and hurdles they need to go through during the training phase and the background phase. And so this is a similar discussion to exactly what I heard in Nottingham about a month ago. So I think it's important that you know that. But pretty much with Deb's letter, she's sort of asking to open up negotiations, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
I did not ask for this prior because I was confident I was going to fill
Yeah.
that for you.
So
And
I think that Mr. Jandarbar's idea is, let's really look at this problem and address it through negotiations is probably the best way to do it. There's other questions that we need to ask. Jocelyn, is drop-off, personal vehicle drop-off increased? Have we seen?
So I can't compare to last
Yeah,
year,
right.
obviously. I will say that we have a lot of parents dropping off. I will say that the buses are getting here, 3 of the buses are getting here right up close to 7:50, which is making it tight for kids to get to class on time. And we're also experiencing a fair amount of disciplinary issues, which may be related to crowded buses and long rides. But I don't know how that compares to prior years.
Right.
we see our numbers down on colder mornings, definitely.
You're saying more parents are driving their kids.
So I will, how, just because I have
So do we
3
want to,
districts, has the SAU before put out an RFP, and how do we negotiate before, Deb? Was that done with some members of the board?
I don't
Through
think we,
discussion and
Yeah.
an addendum to
Okay.
the existing contract.
Right.
I just ask, if this is not a consideration, this doesn't happen, to at least try to get this straightened out before the March 1st contract check, because I don't want to get hit with that large number in one check at the end of the year. It'd be nice to spread it out through the remaining 4, either the full amount Marjorie listed there or the asking amount I have proposed to you. To spread that out over 4.
But as far as I'm concerned, we understand the issues on both sides. One of the things that we can discuss in non-public is any contract negotiations, and I think that's where this needs to go.
Is that what you'd like to do?
Is there any statistical analysis on people drop off and bus? Do you keep a tally every morning of how many people
The
enter?
numbers, no.
No?
No, we don't. It's hard to count them and manage them
Yeah.
at the same time.
Be nice to do a comparison.
But are the
Done the
buses
surveys,
generally
I could-
full? Are they generally half full, just on average?
Well, when we did the survey last, if you had 60 assigned to a route, we were seeing 40 to 50. It's never, none of our buses would be overloaded, of course, but we never
But they're not at
see-
capacity?
They're not at capacity,
Okay,
no.
thank you.
They could
That
be
has
tight.
never been a problem.
They could be
Yeah, I
tight
just,
on some days. but-
I would like to see if there is a trend of parents dropping off their kids compared to different times and stuff.
But if
It
we're
would
not
be
at
nice to-
capacity and we're missing that bus, maybe we don't need that other bus. I don't know, I
Tickled to death to not have the bus. It's expensive.
feel like I'd like to have
But
parent
Yes.
input on that.
Non-public.
Non-public?
Non-public.
Okay.
I think that's where we're trying to get to.
All right.
So do you think we could resolve something before the next contract check?
oh, March 1st? I
We have a
would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll go into non-public tonight, and, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the hope, yeah.
Yeah, makes it a little
And we'll give you a call, if they decide anything, we'll give you a call either tomorrow or Monday.
Okay,
Okay?
definitely. Very good. Thank you for your time.
It'll be put in writing. And it'll be put in writing. Whatever we decide. Opening public comment. Would anyone like to speak? Going once, going twice? Anyone from the board?
I have a couple of things that I want to bring up. I went to the School Board Association annual meeting last Saturday, I think. One of the things that came up, which really caught me unawares, is guns in school. So there's a federal law that handles guns in school for children. If I wanted to walk into this school tonight with 72 guns strapped on me, there's not a thing this school can do about it. I don't know if you know that. It was completely a surprise to me. I can't yet come in with a concealed gun, but I can openly carry a gun into the school anytime I want, and no policy. So one of the things that you may not know is that Nottingham recently passed a policy, made a policy that they don't want guns in their school. It's not a policy that can be enforced. Just kind of interesting, and I
Is it
think
a
you should look
policy
at
that
it. So
can't
this
be
was at the school
enforced?
board, New Hampshire School Board Association meeting. Quite a discussion, and it just surprised the vast majority of us,
Why is it a policy that can't be enforced?
because the law supersedes policy.
But the law,
The law in this state is you can carry a gun onto a school.
oh, I see.
It's the
what
same
you're
thing
saying,
at
okay.
the State House.
Yeah, I mean, you can go look it up all you want. I'm not arguing. I don't think guns belong in the school, so, you know, I have many guns, and I don't want to carry a gun to the school, but I brought this gun just to make the point that there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And it's kind of interesting. So that's something, if you talk to your legislature, you might bring up. I think personally that probably guns don't belong in a school. But anyway, there's nothing you can do about it. I thought that was interesting. The other thing I wanted to bring up before you say my 3 minutes is up is Marjorie and I had quite a discussion last meeting regarding the $90,000 that the town approved on 5 separate warrant articles to go into different reserve accounts. It came as a complete surprise to me. Well, actually, that's unfair because she and I have had this discussion before. When she said she took it out of the 16-17 year that we're in right now. And I tried to explain to her again that that's wrong. You can read the warrant article all you want. It specifically states, which was pointed out to me numerous times as I've talked to people, and I did go in and talk to DRA. Michelle Clark and I had quite a long discussion. Absolutely, that 90,000 should come out of the 15-16 year, not the 16-17 year. And I will, before the next meeting, have an email stating that from the DRA. We're working on that. If you read the warrant article, and I brought this into the DRA so I could show them, it clearly states that the money, this was last year's ballots, on each of the 5 different warrants, it clearly states that the money would be available on July 1st, 2016, which clearly shows that that would be the surplus from the 15-16 year. Any surplus that we may have in this current year will not be available until July 1st of 2017. So the warrant article is written correctly. She's just taken the money out of the wrong year, and I really don't understand the why of that. I have tried and tried and tried to figure out the why of that.
So say that again. It says it would be available July 1st
It
of
clearly,
2016.
this is a copy, I keep copies of all the years. So this is a copy of, so I'm just going to read one of them.
But it says
This was this happened to be the match, well, I'm not going to use the matching, I'm going to use the capital reserve for the purpose of funding the retirement benefits of Northwood school teachers with such amount to be funded from the year-end undesignated fund balance, and in parentheses, surplus, available on July 1st, 2016. So the money that became available on July 1st of 2016 was the surplus from the 15-16 year. Once, of course, she does all the paperwork, and we're not sure, they didn't want to answer questions without whatever, but I understand that the MS-25, as it was changed by them, and this might be part of that, I don't know. So they're going to send me tomorrow a copy of the edited or revised, I think they called it, MS-25. So that would not be the one that we signed. They're thinking. So anyway, they were trying to be very politically correct, and I tried to be very politically correct. But there's no question in my mind that she is absolutely wrong, and that the 90,000 for the 5 warrant articles should have come out of the excess, 514,000 excess from the 15-16 year.
I thought that's what she said.
Well,
I thought she said
she and
that
I
it
went
had
round
to
and
be
around.
put into the 16-17 year budget because it's July 1st, but the money comes out of the 15-16.
No, I went and got the
reasons.
CD and listened to it again. I am
That's the way I
very, very
interpreted it.
careful.
It's like a technical thing that, because it's July 1st, you can't go back to the 15-16. You can take the money out, but you have to show it on that budget line of the 16-17 year.
All 5 of those, and DRA and I agreed on this too, do not even belong in the budget. If you go look at the town budget, they have a myriad of different funds, probably 30, and none of them are shown on the budget financials, ever. It's an entirely different entity, and to me, it is,
Yeah, but then if they're not shown on those financials, people are going to say we're hiding something.
no. They were never shown till just a couple of years ago. They have nothing to do with the financials or with the budget. They have to do with taking money out of surplus if the town approves it. But anyway, I've said my piece. I'm just saying that if she has taken it out of this year, which she said over and over, I listened to the video again, if she has taken it out of this year, then she's wrong. It should come out of last year. And it might, if she hasn't taken it out of last year, it might be too late.
I agree with you, Tim, but I think if that's what she said, I don't think that's what she meant, because I interpreted it that it came out of 15-16. But we can look into it.
Why don't I get a clarification in the morning and send an email out to the board?
Thank you. Approval of school board minutes from 1/19/17, public and non-public. I don't think we had any non-public that day, but
Motion to approve the minutes from January 19th.
second. I just had one clarification, and I don't even know if you'll remember what you said, Tim. Line 69. It says, in response to Mr. Janderberg's, I can never say your name right, on the comfort level of administration, Dr. Godomsky indicated that they are trying to close out purchase orders by April 1st. I didn't understand,
The comfort level of the administration.
but like, of what?
I think,
I thought Marjorie said that. She said that everything would be done by April 1st, so.
I just didn't understand that sentence, like what is he asking, the comfort level of what? Yeah, so that's why I didn't,
what,
69.
I think what Tim's asking is, when are you going, tell me if I'm wrong, because I wasn't here, but I've heard this question before. When are you going to be comfortable projecting what the year-end fund balance is? That makes sense?
Yeah, and
Sounds
then-
like something Tim would ask.
And then Marjorie said that she wants all the purchase orders done by April 1st, so we're not playing June, like, all right, we still have purchase orders out.
What it does say right here, Administrator
And
Whitmore
that's the
said the
conversations that
funds.
happen outside of the board meeting, is we
Oh, well
ask
then.
the administrators to try to have all their POs in and closed out by April 1st, so we have.
Yeah, so, since you weren't here for that meeting, if you read the paragraph up above.
Well, I read that, but it still didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No,
And I was
know,
here, I wasn't here
more
for maybe that part.
speaking to Mr. Rooney.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you read the paragraph up above, that's what started the whole conversation between Marjorie and I. Total unspent expenses are $328,646, and the $90,000 has been taken out and sent to the trustees. So she's talking about our 16-17 year. And the $90,000 has been taken out and sent to the trustees for the capital reserve fund. So I asked her specifically, did that come out of the current year or the 15-16 year, and she told me the current year.
well, it
Over and
does
over.
say right here, though, Administrator Whitmore said the funds are from last year's surplus, but they get dispensed this year, and the warrant article states that. She said the DRA records the funds as a revenue and as an expense.
Yes, they do, sure.
But it does say right here that they are from last year's surplus, but they are dispensed this year.
I understand that, yeah.
So they're from last year's surplus, 15, 16.
And I asked her over and over again, and that's not exactly what she said, but that's fine.
Met and all are comfortable with the current status.
Oh, so that's
I
where the
think,
comfort,
yeah.
okay.
In the first paragraph where it says, administration met and all are comfortable with the current status, that's where the comfort
Yes.
question had come from.
Yeah.
But I can rephrase it if you,
I just didn't, I wasn't here for that discussion, so I didn't know.
oh, okay.
I was just wondering. Any more discussion? Did that get answered?
I addressed that in a phone conversation,
Okay.
but I will address it as part of my report.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye?
Right.
Any opposed? Abstain? 4-0?
You abstain.
No. Well, I was here for part of it. I just
Oh,
wasn't here
okay.
for all of it.
So who was it that abstained?
No, there were no abstain.
Oh, no.
No. Assistant Superintendent report.
My report's on page 21 and 22. Before I start with my report, Mr. Jandabar had some questions at the last meeting. I gave him a call, but I figured I'll give the answers to the board too. If you look at page 19 of your minutes. I think Tim's question was a contract for the partner program, and I think it was under the assumption that it was a NEC tutor, and it was actually the BCBA behavior consultant that has a separate contract up at Co-Brown to work with a student. So that is the cost of that for the year. And then the question below, it wasn't a ride to Rochester, it was actually a bus ride to Tilton. And actually, the price of that bus ride is less than what we've negotiated with the provider. Provider charges $240 a day, and I'm from memory, this was like $175 a day, somewhere
Yeah,
around there. Is
175.
that correct? Because in our transportation contract, we have a clause that I'm allowed to go out to bid to other companies, and then provider has the right to meet that bid, or else I can go with a cheaper vendor. So in that case, it's a ride to Tilton. The confusion came because it's a ride to Spalding Youth Center, and then there's Spalding High School in Rochester, so that's a totally understandable confusion there.
Thank you.
Then if we go on to my report, Alex's story is next Wednesday, down in Nottingham, and that is the Plymouth Tiger Theater. There's a brochure right on the back of my report that explains what that is. That is open to all the schools, hosted at Nottingham. Northwood will be hosting Lynn Lyons, Anxious Parents, Anxious Kids, in May. I have the date, I just got it yesterday, and I'll be getting that out to you. And so we'll have a parent night in the Stratford and Nottingham, and possibly some students from Co-Brown will be invited to come to that. The last thing that we're working on right now is trying to find an internet safety speaker who can come in and do a parent night and be able to reach like all the parents, either K to 8 or, which is a little hard to do. So the nurses and counselors are working on trying to find that.
Mr. Wells had his hand up about that.
I can do that.
We found our speaker for our parent.
Look at that, that was easy.
I guess I'll email the guidance counselors and nurses and tell them to stop. So that would be, is that okay for 3 K to 8 schools? That's
Yeah.
generally, we try to share
Yep.
because it's cheaper when we do that. And I think you get a bigger bang for your buck, and then maybe your parents know the other parents when they go into Co-Brown. It's all a good transition.
No, they didn't, Nottingham did it last year, right? Didn't they do one last year?
Nottingham did do it last year. And if you call me tomorrow, I can share some of their feedback. CBNA has their official file review tomorrow, where the DOE comes in and pulls 10 student files as part of their special education approval process. It's a little different than in other districts because Co-Brown's a public academy. It's treated as a private provider of special education services. So they go through like a different program approval than the public schools. So I'll be with them tomorrow from 10 until 1. I hope that's as long as it takes. Doing that for Northwood, Nottingham, and Stratford. Again, we had our school counselors and nurses meeting last week down in Nottingham, and we'll have one coming up, I think, this week or this month or next month, either in Stratford or Northwood. The interesting thing is we've been trying to pull the guidance counselors and nurses together to talk about student health and wellness and mental health. The nice thing is that the superintendent in Barrington somehow got wind of it, and I actually had counselors from Barrington and nurses from Barrington who are interested in participating in that group, which is a great thing.
Absolutely.
So we'll continue those monthly meetings, and I just want to give them a lot of credit, because all these parent nights and these mental health issues that we want to talk to parents about, and internet safety issues, these guys are really the driving force behind that, and they're doing a great job of working together, and they make it very easy and enjoyable for me to problem solve and figure out how to do these things. And it's just, it's one of the highlights of my months to go meet with them.
Okay.
I just updated your English speakers of other language, or your ELL, or your LEP, depending on what you want to call them. They've been all updated, and the access tests have been ordered, and the tests have been scheduled in all 3 of the K-8s in Co-Brown. So we're all done with that, and the ESL teachers would do their testing in this next month. And underneath that is your census. Any questions for me?
Tim, questions? No?
You're welcome.
Policies, second reading.
Skip the principal's report.
Oh, sorry, did. I wasn't, principal's report. Sorry. I didn't check it off, though, that's a good thing.
So
Too many
in
classes out.
addition to my written report, I have an addendum for tonight.
Thank
I
you.
have already emailed to you. So the good news of the night is we are fully staffed. We found a custodian 2 days after I submitted my principal's report. So he will be in your personnel report. And he started Monday on a substitute basis. And he's come back, so that's good. We had our spelling bee last week. It was a ton of fun. And I want to thank Jessica Carloni, Carol Summers, and Marty Smith for helping to plan it and for judging it. The board had asked for some information regarding the 13 students who are not attending the 8th grade trip. Ms. Hashem and Mrs. Tyler shared that 4 of the students are not coming simply because of concerns around being away from home overnight. The other 9 did not indicate a reason, but she said that they were very clear about being able to offer financial assistance throughout the process, so she doesn't think that it was a financial reason. We are inviting those 13 students to join their class in Boston on Saturday, June 3rd. We'll either provide transportation if we have enough kids interested, or we'll ask families to transport. Adrian will be chaperoning the whole trip, and I will be attending on that Saturday day trip. The board had also asked for some information on our programs. There's a pretty quick turnaround time between the board meeting and when I have to submit my next report, so I didn't have time to really poll the teachers on this. So this is much more our perspective than teachers' perspective. We did a fair amount of professional development in the fall. Teachers have been talking together, working in teams to kind of figure out all the pieces of the program. The building leadership team has looked at the programs in terms of the specificity and complexity of the learning objectives for each lesson. Go Math seems to be a pretty straightforward, concrete, measurable learning objective. Sometimes a little bit more procedural than we would want and not looking for that extended and strategic thinking. So teachers are sort of modifying those as appropriate. Wonders and Foundations, being literacy programs, are a little bit more complex, and figuring out how to fit them together has been a little bit more complicated. But I think teachers' comfort level with that is improving, and people are feeling better. And then one of the things that's kind of exciting is that we're getting to a point where we can personalize learning for students a little bit more. Now that teachers understand the routines and expectations of Foundations, they can start to think about which kids need which components and which specific phonics skills. And so that will be something that we're working on as we move forward, so that we're doing more small group targeted skill instruction versus everybody getting the same lesson regardless of whether they're above level, on level, or below level. So I would say overall, things are going well with the 3 programs. In the addendum that I handed out, I have more concrete numbers for the Title I summer program. The numbers in the packet were estimates, so it's up a little bit because I was a little off on the rates, and also I failed to include FICA and retirement. So we're looking at a pretty robust summer program that we're really excited about. And it's been submitted to the state for approval, and we're waiting to hear back on that. The board had also asked for an update on Mara Vista. Mrs. King was pretty succinct that they're super excited. She provided the dates, and I will have more information on that parent night in March as we get closer. Wanted to extend an invitation to any board members to come in and read to a class or more than one class on February 22nd. Our school will be celebrating Read Across America Week. And the theme is diversity. You can read a Dr. Seuss book or another book of your choice. There will be a sign up at the deliberative session on Monday. So we encourage you to sign up. And then 2 additional things in the addendum. Mrs. Dow had requested at the last meeting, I believe, that the board consider using some of the unexpended transportation funds from that bus that we're not running for funding field trips. That was sort of a hypothetical request at the time, but now it's a concrete request because 3rd grade would like to go, or is planning to go to the planetarium this month. If the board will approve using $284.50, that would save each family $8. So she is asking for board permission on that. And then Ms. Hashem and Mrs. Tyler, the 8th grade co-advisors, are requesting additional fundraising activities for the purpose of the class of 2017, including a dress down day for staff on pay week Fridays. Right now, staff can wear jeans, so they're suggesting that on a non-pay week Friday, that staff could pay $1 to wear jeans. Partnering with a local business, which is sort of to be determined in terms of what that would look like, and a pajama day. Some of these activities are pretty similar to what the Kitty Cornerstone Fund had proposed, so we'll just make sure that they are not stepping on each other's toes. So I believe that is all I have for you. So just looking for approval of the fundraiser and field trip request.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. About the Go Math and the foundations and all of those. Everything seems to be going well. What is your feeling on how the technology is being integrated? Because I know that was something we discussed early in the year, and people were not pleased with how that was going, and I just wonder how it's going now that it's been.
I think it's better. I think the professional development, I mean, Go Math is a very tech-based
Right.
program, and there were definitely some hiccups at the beginning of the year in terms of logging on and knowing which sites did which things. I think the 2 days of professional development were very helpful with that. And I think that's something that anticipating going into K through 3 next year, we'll want to sort of be in front of and make sure that we have that stuff to begin with.
Regarding the money wanted for the bus money for a field trip?
Should we make a motion and then discuss it?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, that's what I was gonna do, is make a motion and then ask for discussion. Motion to approve $284.50 for the 3rd grade to go to the planetarium in Concord.
Second.
Discussion.
I'm just concerned about where that's going to go in the future. So this has been kind of a policy for many years where parents have chipped in to help when classes want to go to different field trips around. If we're going to start paying for those field trips, that's, as a regular basis, once you start something, it's really hard to stop. It's just about impossible to stop. So that's my concern about the field trips. The money was meant for busing, so that somewhat works in, but if we do it this time, are we going to be inundated for requests for field trips, money for buses and stuff? That would be a big concern of mine.
And see, I look at it the other way. I think that we don't take enough field trips in this school, and that I would absolutely love to see some of this money used towards more field trips, so that teachers feel more comfortable.
So for next year, we don't have it in the budget.
I know.
Okay.
I was one of the ones
And
that
you
wanted to
would
put it
want
back
to have
in.
it in the budget, yes.
I did.
So, okay, so now you've answered my question, so now I know how to vote. Thank you.
But I think that, I was going to actually ask the question, I don't remember, when my oldest was in 3rd grade, they brought the planetarium here. And I don't know if they've done that since, and my understanding was that it was actually cheaper to do it that way. They used the gym, and, because I actually went with him, they set up the 2 things in the gym, and then we went out to the parking lot and looked and stuff like that. So, and it was an evening program, which was phenomenal. And I know you can't answer it, but just to think about that also, because then there's no transportation and families can be involved with it also. But that was phenomenal. And I believe they still do that. They set the whole thing up. So,
So this says it would save each family $8, so how much is each family currently paying?
Nothing.
Oh, they don't pay anything?
No,
they
do.
would pay. She did tell me, and I don't remember, but it's something like $13 with this and $21 without or something.
Yeah, she said at the last meeting, and I don't remember exactly what it was. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed?
I'm not.
3-1. Motion to approve fundraising for the class of 2017.
Second.
Discussion?
I just, partnering with a local business. I know Hannaford's does a lot of fundraising for our safety days, our DARE. That's something you might want to look into, Hannaford's, and see if you can partner up with them, seeing that they donate a bunch of the food for the safety day before and stuff, so.
They donate, but they won't let you, stand in front of their store or nothing. They have a very strict corporate policy.
They do, but they have that, let's call it, money thing there.
Kiosk, yeah.
That kiosk there, thanks for the word.
Yeah, they have ways of donating, but it's.
Well, they also have the days where you can, like, if you buy one of their reusable bags, they give so much money to whoever, they've done that to the school before, they've done it to the PTA and stuff, so.
Okay, thank you for the suggestion.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, you have more discussion?
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I'm just, how do you gain money for dress down day? Do you have to pay to dress down?
Yes.
Okay. Aye.
4-0.
I was just wondering, I was like, how does that work?
The kids pay them. And I think that's it for those.
I had a couple of questions of Ms. Young.
Okay. Yep.
Two, really. So I was in yesterday, and we had just had a discussion about safety in the school, and I actually saw the amount of money we spent, which was $34,469 when I was looking for something else in the warrant articles in the last week. But anyway, I came in yesterday, as you know, looking for something specific. But it was interesting, so I came in the front door, perfectly fine, went into the office, signed out, got a visitor's pass, and the secretary says, "Where are you going?" And I said, I'm going to go upstairs and around and just look. And she says, "Fine, I'll have to open the door for you, unlock the door for you." And I said, "No, it's wide open." So I thought you should know that. You know, it's
What door was wide open?
the door going down to all of the classrooms, et cetera. Locked
The
open.
one that's supposed to be blocked off?
Yes,
Oh, by the nurse's office, is that the one you mean?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, if you want to pay for security, you know, that's fine. If you're not going to use it, though, why pay the money?
It had just been opened in anticipation
All
of
right, yeah.
dismissal.
And that's fine. So, safety pin, does that mean anything to you?
Pin?
Safety pin, hanging on a door.
No.
Okay, so I would like you to Google it at your own leisure. You're going to find that a safety pin means that you're very upset with the election and very upset with Donald Trump. I don't believe it belongs in the school, and I'll leave it at that. You can go look around and you'll find a safety pin, and I think that's just plain wrong. You guys want all of our support, whether I'm a raving, loony, left-leaning liberal or a raving, right-wing, whatever, you need all of our support. And I think that's pretty unfair to have stuff like that hanging on doors in a school that would like support from everybody.
Thank you for that feedback.
So, I had a discussion with Marjorie, and I do agree that security is security, and if you want to do it right, you should do it right. But we are one of the model schools for security out of all the ones in our district. So, and I'm not going to get into details of what, but our key system, our entry system is better than the other two schools, so.
We spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money, and I voted for it. And immediately gave it up.
Was it dismissal?
It was almost dismissal. It was 10 after 2.
But yeah, we, so,
Do damned if you don't. Because if it wasn't open in time, then you'd have parents complaining. I get it, don't open a door. Anyway, now we can go on to
Make light of it,
policies.
that's fine.
No, I'm just saying.
No, make light of it, that's fine.
I don't think she was.
Just- You'll know when I vote no on any more security, why. If we're not going to use it, why have it? Feel free to make light of it.
January,
We already
I don't
know.
think she was.
Policies. Administering medication to students. JLCD. This is second readings. Do we want to do them all at once, or do people have concerns, questions?
these are the same ones from, yeah, it's a second reading, right?
This is second
Yeah.
reading, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. They're the ones that were pretty much wiped out and redone with the,
Social media one has been changed to social media, and all of the names have been condensed into like
Facebook,
social
Twitter,
media.
MySpace, all
Yeah.
that.
Things I don't do.
Can I correct a typo on page 27? In the paragraph after number 2, third line from the bottom, it should not have an apostrophe in that.
I don't even have a page 27.
Hey, man.
No, I don't.
Lost it.
I go from 23 to 28.
That's because I had that made for you today.
Oh, yeah.
I got it, yes.
Okay. I thought that was the whole policy. This page 28. Okay. I was like, that's nice and sweet. Sweet.
Yeah, that's what we want.
So are you guys okay if we do them all together, or do you want to do them individually? I know you're going to abstain, Tim, so Bree, do you want to do them individually, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Motion to approve JLCD, administering medications to students. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Just on that social media
Can we do
piece.
this, we're just doing one at a time.
Oh, we are? I thought
Sorry.
you said we're doing them all together.
No, Bree said she wanted to do one at a time.
Oh, I thought she
Oh, I
said-
thought you said you wanted to do one at a time, okay.
I said that's fine, go.
Okay, so motion to approve JLCD, administering medication to students, KB, Title I Family and Community Engagement Policy, and KD, social media, let me turn the page too fast. Social media website, school district social media websites.
So we discussed about encompassing all of social media. I just don't, because I don't see any crossouts. I didn't know if that was changed or not. And if it was,
Brand new, isn't it?
I see it right here. Social media means any online collaboration.
Right, so we took out all the, like, those individual names that were through it and just put in social media.
And then gave examples of certain
Right.
ones. Okay.
Right. But said that that's not all that, you know, that's where the, but not limited to. That two supposed to have two O's. Limited to.
You would have to tell me where
English
you
majors.
are.
Where it says not limited to, is that two O's or just one?
So page 32.
Oh, it's just one?
It's
Okay.
just one.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's vote. Motion to approve?
Aye.
Aye. One abstain? Tim? 301. Policies, superintendent report.
You have a personnel report on page 34, and then you have another one that I passed out before the meeting. So why don't we take the one on page 34 first? And there are stipends for Michelle Alafat for curriculum development, Joanne Alberg for curriculum development, and Louise King for curriculum development. And you have to.
Or we have to vote
Well,
on
that's
it?
what I'm going to ask you, because I have 3 different districts who do things 3 different ways, and I
can't
can never
remember.
remember, so I'm sorry.
So how many is that on curriculum directed? Because we did some already.
I think we did
Development.
3 or 4 last
We
time.
did 4, so this
think it
is
was
5, 6, 7?
And I think we set up to a certain amount, though, when we voted for this. If I remember right, there was,
There's
when,
$3,000 in the budget, so with this many people, they're not all going to be able to work the 20 hours, and we're monitoring that.
I know
You know,
there
we're
was a
excited to
certain-
have more people interested in it, so, but I wanted to keep it consistent.
And I think we have been voting on them, but I can't remember. Does anybody else remember?
We voted on them last week.
We did, okay, that's
couple
what I
weeks
thought.
ago.
So
Whatever you wanna
moved.
do.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 400.
And then I passed a personnel report out for you, because Ms. Young is so excited to have a full staff. We have a nomination for Patrick Salvatore, as full-time custodian for $10.85 an hour.
Second. Discussion? No? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 400.
And then another stipend for Nicole Billcliffe as the softball coach.
Second. Discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Anything else from the superintendent? Okay.
I don't think so. That's it for me.
New business, school board self-evaluation policy, which is in here, I think, right?
Page 35.
Page
Yep.
35.
I don't know, I don't remember from the last meeting that it was the policy per se, but that we were supposed to be looking at the school board doing a self-evaluation. Because we did set those goals, like Keith had said back when we had those meetings, so we had set some goals. But doing a self-evaluation of the board.
Did we ever see a final version of that list of goals? I don't think we ever did.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that when I was reading through this.
I mean, we started off with it, and then we got into the budget, and then kind of, we were supposed to
Meet.
go back into them in January, and then the February came along, and we were talking about doing the strategic plan, so that kind of just went to the wayside. Which I think the strategic plan, I mean, I think we're doing double the work. The strategic plans are gonna give us our goals. We can get to, we should have goals for the strategic plan, so, I mean, we're behind, that's what I'm saying.
Just as the annual evaluation we conducted in February. Some of these, like the relationship with the superintendent, that I feel like is more of like the superintendent evaluation, which we're not doing great on either with the joint board. I don't know.
Form that we fill out for this, having not been here last February, I assume. Did you do it in February last year?
I've never seen it, so.
Do you want a recommendation to
these
speed this
before?
up for you?
Well, I was just thinking that we could each sort of bring it, but yeah, like bring back our own.
Well, no, why don't I put, there is a sample, I believe, well, they've changed these policies around, but let me look at New Hampshire School Boards Association tomorrow. Because BA and then BBA, they eliminated one, they added one. There may be a form that will help you do that. Why don't I take a look at that, and if I can find it, I'll stick it in the next or I'll send it out via email and then put
Next,
this on the agenda
for our next
for the
meeting.
next meeting. Does that make sense?
Sure. Because we should evaluate before.
And then if I can't find a board evaluation program, I'll let you know that.
Okay.
It's just important for you. I'm sending stuff out informationally, so please don't respond in the email, or else we'll have to make it part of the minutes.
Okay. All right, committee reports.
Calendar committee met again last week. Proposed calendar is in your packet on page 36. We did go with the board's recommendation to have no school on the day of the Deerfield Fair. To compensate for that and to keep the teacher workshops that we wanted, we tacked one day on to the end of the year on June 12th. So that's our offering to the board.
Motion to approve 2017-2018 calendar, draft number 4, that's in our packet.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tim? Aye. 4 ayes. The ayes have it. Any other committee reports?
None. Not immediate.
Scott and I met today. I think we have, I can't remember how many.
Millions.
We'll be bringing 1, 2, 3, 4 to the next meeting.
Yeah, can I talk to the, do you mind if I speak? The next policies you're getting, I just want to sort of outline the challenge that you're having. Some of your policies, I'm going to say they're misnumbered, even though they're letters, right? So like policy GCA, you folks have as a coaching recruitment policy, and the standard policy across the state coding for that, actually across the country, is for hiring professional staff. So you're gonna see us shuffling some numbers, and it's gonna be confusing, but I've gotta basically go through and figure out where the misalignment is, and then take that and align it to where it needs to be, and then that'll affect this policy, and it'll affect that. So it might get a little confusing, I'm just warning you. Because if I don't, I'll give you an example. If you eliminate a policy, if you change, like I'll give GCA is a perfect example. If you adopt the policy that's supposed to be there, which is the professional staff policy as GCA, then you've just eliminated that coaching recruitment policy. And so I need to be able to present to you a new code for that. Does that make sense? It's just going to be messy, and I apologize. That's it for me.
No other committees? All right. Old business, parking lot items.
The strategic planning guy coming back?
Next meeting.
Next meeting.
Yeah, I think he wasn't able to come to this one.
That's what I thought, and I wasn't sure if I remembered right.
Cafeteria ceiling, CIP plan, task referred, okay. Impact fees,
And then I'll start gathering that stuff.
okay, for April. Okay.
I thought it was the second meeting in March.
Oh, this says April.
When's the reorganization meeting?
The
First
first.
meeting in March.
That would be the second
second
meeting in March.
All right, that's fine. There it is, April.
Yeah.
All right.
School board timelines, we're in February. Discussion of 6th grade science camp with school board, deliberative session, board feedback on non-CBA staff, and board evaluation policy BA. I don't know, this non-board, yeah. You gave us feedback.
No,
on
you
that.
got that. You're working on that.
I don't know. I don't remember doing that before.
I can ask.
Well, yeah, I do, but that was not as a board.
And then policy BA we've addressed, so why don't I put this on the next agenda?
Okay. And then in March, I wanted to put on there the, for the timeline, the time change to get that information out to the professional staff by the March 30th deadline. So it should be like the first, well, I guess it has to be the second meeting in March, but after the deliberative session. But by March 30th, for the CBA, that the information needs to be to the NTA. Set future agenda items. So what do we have, anything? Okay.
Finish this. Yep. Board feedback on non-CBA staff. We've got board self-evaluation form. I'm gonna email out an answer about the $90,000 tomorrow, I hope. That's it.
Well, then, March 1st, we have for Deb Dell's funds, those of transportation, that we have to decide on the, either spreading out the payment sheet.
I think we're gonna do that in a few minutes.
Okay, we're gonna
Do
And
that
before,
now, so,
right.
yeah. We'll go into,
At least we'll start the discussion.
yeah. Anything else for agenda for next time? Tim, do you have anything?
A question about the deliberative session to the administration. Are we, is the school selling anything, baked goods, anything like that? Because I know that they're doing that for the town deliberative session.
just for
The-
votes.
I know the kids are selling brownies and
Kinda
cookies
like
or
an
something
errand.
for the town deliberative, so I didn't know if we were organizing something like that here.
I have not been told of any of that, but it's possible that there will be a bake sale or something for one of the existing, like the 8th grade fundraisers. I know they've been
Yeah,
doing for
that's,
games,
they're
but
doing a
I'm not-
fundraiser for some community leadership group or something. I can't quite remember what it was called at Co-Brown. But I would encourage you.
Thank you.
That's it. What? Yeah.
Future meetings, February 6th, 6:30. The deliberative session is here at the Northwood School Gymnasium. February 16th, 6:30, regular board meeting. February 20th, I think I said 6:15, but that was 6:30, so February 16th. February 20th, 6:15, joint board meeting, SAU office. March 2nd, 6:30, regular board meeting. March 14th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is town voting day at the parish center at St. Joseph's Church. Any closing public comment?
I just have one thing to add on there.
Yep.
When's the candidates night? Is that like February 21st, 22nd? I remember
I got that in the
reading-
mail.
Haven't heard yet.
I thought I read it in
I-
Suncook.
Hang on. I think I might have, I got it in an email from the,
Just want to put that out there.
from the trustees or whatever, I think it was the trustees, but I don't remember. If there's any public comment, closing comment while I'm looking for that. Anyone? Seeing none. What are we using to go into? We do need to have a non-public session.
Maybe we should all might have
Negotiations.
it. Going in under dinner and dumpster service, recycling materials.
It's a big meeting.
E.
I know this is public.
All of these.
No.
No.
Yeah, negotiation and pending
That's what
claim.
should have happened. If he couldn't go, he should have said.
E.
5-yard dumpster.
E.
I know it's different because of different materials maybe. But IPs.
Motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
Second. Tim?
Yes.
Bree?
Yes.
Barbie, yes.
Just
Shane?
disappointed.
Go into non-public?
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's a big meeting.